Hey y'all, so welcome back into the channel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a good week so far. So a lot of things are happening that are making people question, is this the end prophecies? Are the signs that are and things that are happening, are they leading to the end times? Are we about to witness something that, people have been talking about for many, many, many years? And finally, we're seeing things lead up to that could put us in that prophecy. So that's something we have to ask ourselves and definitely read in our Bibles and see um, where it goes, because everything seems to be lining up. So a tsunami happened, and we're going to get into that. We're going to get into Iran and why is Iran so important in the end prophecies. We're going to go over to TikTok while we still have it and look at some of those things as well. So a horrifying moment, a towering 30-foot wave swallowed a crowded beach in Argentina. This is it happening here. Now they don't have the actual footage in this particular video that was playing that will show, the moment the wave hit. But terrifying footage from the coastal town of Santa Clara del Mar shows the sea surging suddenly inland, racing across the sand and catching sunbathers completely off guard. Beachgoers can be seen sprinting for their lives as panic reverberates through the crowd. Umbrella topples, bags are swept away as the shoreline vanishes beneath a mound of water. While the main wave itself isn't visible in the footage, eyewitnesses told local media it rose to an astonishing 30 feet before slamming into beachgoers. A 29-year-old man reportedly visiting Argentina to see family was tragically killed after being dragged out to sea and smashed headfirst into rocks. When the waves finally subsided, lifeguards rushed out to the surf to try to save his life. They performed CPR but were unsuccessful. Another man suffered a heart attack while being pulled into the water, and at least 35 others were injured. Experts believe the deadly surge was caused by a rare phenomenon known as a Mateo tsunami, a freak event that behaves much like a traditional tsunami, but without the earthquake. Now, I had no idea that this is something that was even possible, but it is called a mini tsunami. Witnesses reported seeing the sea eerily retreat moments beforehand before the waves rushed the shore, driven by sudden drops in the atmospheric pressure and volatile weather systems. They say this event is unpredictable. As you can see here, the waves retreating. I've never seen that before, outside of the one that happened many years ago. The water literally retreated. And we know when it does that, you know what's next. It's coming in, so you need to try to get away from it. So witnesses reported seeing the sea eerily retreat moments beforehand before waves rushed ashore, driven by sudden drops in atmospheric pressure. It is an unpredictable event. We don't know if this could happen again. Lifeguard Union head said the waves reach unimaginable heights. This phenomenon is extremely rare for the region, describing it as a mini tsunami driven not by seismic activity, but by violent shifts in air pressure and powerful winds. Now, we see the things that are happening as far as weather, weird weather, animals acting weird, everything going on with Iran, just wars everywhere. The doomsday fish, I told you guys about the doomsday fish washing up in many places, but recently California, and I do believe that California is due for another really major earthquake. And what's going to come with that will be a tsunami. That's just my thoughts on that. Y'all can let me know what y'all think. What is this? Okay. So let's go over to TikTok. And see what we find. Here we go.
Attention to this nation specific, but here's what we need to understand before we go any further. Why does Iran matter at all in Bible prophecy? Why should we pay attention to this nation specifically? And the answer goes back thousands of years and forward to events that haven't happened yet. Here's something most people don't realize. Iran isn't just a modern nation with modern conflicts. Iran has a biblical identity that stretches back to the ancient world. The nation we call Iran today was known in Scripture as Persia, and Persia appears by name in one of the most significant end times prophecies in the entire Bible. Ezekiel 38:5 lists the nations that will come against Israel in the last days, and right there, explicitly named, is Persia. Now, I need to be very careful here, and this is important for maintaining biblical integrity. I am not saying that what's happening right now is the fulfillment of Ezekiel 38. The Ezekiel 38 invasion hasn't happened yet. The conditions aren't fully in place. We're not there. But here's what I am saying, and this connects directly to the birth pang pattern we've been examining. Prophecy doesn't start with invasion. Prophecy starts with positioning. Think about what has to happen before Ezekiel 38 can be fulfilled. Nations have to align, alliances have to form. Iran has to be in a position, militarily, politically, ideologically, where joining a coalition against Israel makes sense. And look at where Iran is right now. Their economy is collapsing. Their people are in the streets. Their regime is under unprecedented pressure both internally and externally. They've already been involved in direct conflict with Israel through this is trajectory alignment. Iran isn't fulfilling Ezekiel 38 today, but Iran is moving along the trajectory that leads to Ezekiel 38. And here's what makes this so significant, because this is going to connect to why this moment feels different from anything we've seen before. Every end times scenario involving the Middle East includes Iran. Every serious prophetic analysis puts Persia in the coalition. This isn't a minor player. This is a central actor in the biblical end times narrative. Which means when Iran destabilizes, when Iran threatens, when Iran moves toward confrontation, we should pay attention. Not because we can predict exactly what will happen, but because we can see the pattern forming.
So do you see the pattern forming? Let me know down in the comments.
The game has started to turn. Inside Iran, protests are erupting across the country. There is hardly any city or town left where demonstrations are not taking place. But this time, the situation is different. Very different. This time, Iran has brought its own supporters onto the streets. Not in hundreds, not in thousands, but in massive numbers across multiple regions. People are now visible on the streets in many cities, and the picture has become very clear. The leadership has made a firm decision to stand its ground. What's happening behind the scenes? On one side, former U.S. leadership is openly backing groups opposing Iran's religious establishment. On the other side, Israel is trying to provide digital access and communication tools to those groups. But now Iran is sending a clear message. The narrative is shifting. Supporters have come out in force. The balance is changing. You might be surprised to know that these scenes are being shown as breaking news, not just locally, but in Russia, China, and across global media platforms. Two things are now absolutely clear. First, The narrative that Iran's supreme leader was preparing to flee, that visas were arranged, escape plans were ready, has completely collapsed. There is no such move. There never was. This leadership has faced pressure, conflicts, and isolation since 1979. Despite decades of challenges and regional tensions, they have not walked away.
So let's talk about the Cyrus Accords, because this is in direct connection with what's going on over in Iran right now. And so here's a little update, but the exiled crown prince of Iran, Reza, calls for Iranians to make larger protests so the regime's power becomes even weaker. And so right now over in Iran, there are protests going on, and it's in the 12th or 13th day right now. And it's only continuing. And so things are getting out of control, as it seems at this point, and today is January 10th. And there are reports that at least 2,000 people have lost their lives over there within the last 48 hours because of these ongoing protests. And right now, the world is paying attention to what's going on over there. There was a possibility of a regime collapse. And President Trump, he posted a truth on Truth Social that said Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before. The U.S. stands ready to help President Donald J. Trump.
Jesus is coming back. There are only a few seconds left. The world is not normal anymore. Millions are talking about his return. Channels, videos, sermons, posts. Everyone is alert. He's coming back. But listen carefully. In a few years, this fire will cool down. People will laugh, mock, and even Christians will doubt the Bible. Have you warned anyone about this yet? This feels like TikTok fever on YouTube today. Churches are filled with talks about prophecies, signs, wars, rumors. It's right in your face. But the Bible already warned us. 2 Peter 3 verses 3-4 says, "In the last days scoffers will come, saying, 'Where is this coming?' He promised." Everything goes on as it always has. Even Christians can fall for this lie. Have you heard people say, "My grandma used to talk about Jesus' return, nothing happened. It's all stories"? That's exactly what happened in Noah's days. He built the ark, warned the people, and they laughed.
Could BRICS be the 10 horns or the 10 kings in the book of Revelation? I think it's a very real possibility. Let's get into it. So let's start by looking at what BRICS actually is. BRICS is a coalition of countries that was started to essentially challenge the dominance that the United States has. They wanted to stop relying on the US dollar so much, and they wanted to start essentially a new world order. Now, BRICS started with 5 members or 5 countries, hence its name: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Over the last few years, they have added 5 more countries, and now as of 2024, they are officially a 10-member, 10-country coalition. Here are all of the 10 official countries that are in BRICS. What's crazy is this coalition makes up almost half the world's population, 45%, or almost 4 billion people. Now, what does this all have to do with the book of Revelation? Well, to answer that question, we have to go to the book of Daniel, because to understand the book of Revelation, you have to first understand the book of Daniel. Now, in the book of Daniel, we have dreams or visions. We have Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and then we have Daniel's dream. Both of these dreams, both of these visions represent kingdoms that were.
And I was reading Daniel last night, Daniel 2 and Daniel 7. And that led me to Isaiah as well. And listen, Bible study was long last night, okay?
And they also represent kingdoms that are yet to come, all culminating with the Antichrist kingdom. So we're going to take just a brief look at Nebuchadnezzar's dream, because this gives us a good look at the different kingdoms. And this, of course, plays into Revelation. So this is what he saw. He saw a statue. Each part of the statue was made up of something different, and that represented a different kingdom. So his empire, the Babylonian Empire, was the head of gold. Then the Mede-Persian Empire was made of silver. That came next, which followed by the Grecian Empire, which was made of bronze. And then the legs were made of iron, which represented the Roman Empire. Now here at the bottom, his feet and the toes were made of partly iron and partly clay. And so this empire is made up partly of the Roman Empire. Keep that in mind for later. Now, these kingdoms represent the kingdoms that persecuted Israel. There are a total of 7, but 2 were not mentioned. I think they were Egypt and Assyria. Could BRICS be the 10 horns or the 10?
Did you know Jesus says there's one thing that must happen before he returns? And many Christians actually don't believe this is happening in the world right now, but this is upon us right now. And what Jesus said was that every single nation would hear the gospel. And there's a movie coming out this weekend proving what people are trying to disprove, that these fields of millions of people internationally are hearing the gospel, repenting, and meeting Jesus.
Day soon, when Jesus
Here are 5 things that will happen on Judgment Day, the return of Christ. And save this video or share this video because this is important stuff. Number 1, all will stand before Christ. Everyone. Doesn't matter what you believed. Doesn't matter how you lived your life. Doesn't matter if you have the least amount of sins in the world. Doesn't matter if you're a Satanist. All will stand before Christ, and every knee will bow, and every tongue will confess that he is Lord. Number 2, the books will be opened, the book of life and the book of deeds. The book of life will have the name of everyone who will enter the kingdom of heaven. The book of deeds will have every single person's every action that they've ever committed, both good and bad. Number 3, believers will be rewarded. Believers aren't judged. Their sins were forgiven on the cross, and since they chose to follow Jesus, they will not be condemned for their sins. They will only be rewarded. In the book of deeds, we'll have all of their good deeds, and they will be rewarded according to their deeds. Number 4, non-believers will be thrown into the lake of fire. Those whose names aren't written in the book of life will be thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And those who choose not to follow Jesus will be in his presence and all of his glory on Judgment Day, just to be ripped away from it eternally. And number 5, the kingdom of heaven. Those who took Jesus serious, those who believed in what he did on that cross, those who had faith in Jesus will live in eternal joy in the kingdom of heaven with the Father forever. Here are 5 things that will happen on Judgment.
So y'all definitely let me know how you feel about everything that you just saw, where you stand at it. Put that in the comment. If you stand for it, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I love you, but God loves you more. He created only one you. Be the very best you that you can be, and when you are, go out and spread God's love. Peace, love, and light. Thanks for being here on Tommy Bites Homestead.